Welcome to the Loveland Report and the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's best real estate planner, alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. We're going to tell you about all your Central Florida mortgage and real estate news, as we've been doing. I've been doing for, almost 28 years on this station. So tune in. We're going to talk about protecting resale value when you want to downsize, possibly. Where do you go? We're going to talk about, we got a Sleepy Joe economy, how are prices doing? And luxury sales, those are climbing around the country. Are they climbing in Central Florida? We're going to dig into that. And Bruce, we got the Fed cut. What are your big three things you want to talk about?
Well, I tell you what, we've got a lot to talk about. So I do want to cover what interest rates are doing right now. Are they up? Are they down? What's happened since the Fed cut? I want to talk about 5 common mistakes that people make when they are trying to fix their own credit, okay? Or what things that they're doing to enhance their credit. And then I want to talk about, do we wait for rates to drop again before we buy, or do we buy right now? So these are some really
I know the answer to that one.
Well, you know what? I think that it's important that people understand it because, to be honest with you, Cleve, what you and I see and what the average person feels may be completely different. So I want to first, I'm going to share why I understand what they're thinking, but I want to also inject the reality of things.
And what are we hovering still low sixes? The Fed rate, it was already kind of priced in. So we kind of stayed low sixes.
Interest rates actually got worse after the Fed meeting, believe it or not. And you heard the Lone Ranger say it many times before that you could see interest rates deteriorate after the Fed cut, and they did. Now they're back. So it's only a blip, but that typically happens. And I want to talk about the reason that happens too. When we let's get some of these things out, and then I want to talk about the reason that happens, because when I say that, people look at me like I'm from outer space. What do you mean the rates could go up when the Fed cuts the Fed rate? So we're going to address that, and we're also going to dive deep into, should I wait to buy or should I buy right now?
You talked about credit score and things you can do there, because that can make the difference between your rate being 6.5 or 5.75, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So go dig into that.
Well, so in your interest rate that you pay on a mortgage. Now, first of all, it depends on where interest rates are. But let's just say the average interest rate right now was 6.25. You may be at 6.5 if you have a 725. You may be at 599 if you have a 790. So the same borrower buying the same house with a different credit score can make night or day difference on what your interest rate is. So when you are looking for an interest rate, you want to know, where do I stand? So we oftentimes will enhance people's credit that's already good to make it better to help them.
And that's why they shouldn't listen to what the Credit Karma app tells them. They should call you, and you give them basically a treasure map of what to do. And they need to do exactly that. And what most people think, it's opposite of what most people think. Paying off a card, closing one down, paying off an old judgment from 10 years ago. Those things are not what you should do, right?
Well, no, they're absolutely not what you should do. What you should do is listen to a professional that's going to tell you how to actually fix the credit. So let's go ahead and get into that. These are 5 common mistakes that people make when fixing their credit. First of all, you do not need to hire somebody. In 99% of the cases I see, hire somebody and pay them to fix your credit. You don't need to do it. There are techniques that you can do to help fix your credit, and we help clients for free every day because we want you to get a loan. We want your business. So we're going to do what you would normally pay. The average credit repair company costs about $500 to get in. Some as low as $99, and generally $100 a month or more. And they're gonna soak you for at least a year. But what they do, Cleve, is they just go out and dispute all the negative credit, and your score bumps up, and you go, "Yay! My score went from 599 to 680." Well, it didn't, because the creditors are not able to report that to the bureau when it's in dispute. Now, when it comes to getting a mortgage, you have to have the disputes removed. What happens when you have the disputes removed? The score goes back down. So it is just a temporary Band-Aid. So that's one of the first things is, Don't fix it yourself. Let somebody help you. We use detailed analysis. We run every single one of your credits, like every card, every car loan, to determine where it needs to be in order for you to get the maximum score and how long it'll take you to get there. The other thing is, Cleve, is people will think, oh, you know what, Bruce, I really need to clear up some things before I call you and get the application made. Well, what are you clearing up? I got a collection in there. Whoa, don't call them. Don't do anything. Because if you pay off the collection, let's just say you have a bad collection on your credit and you pay it off, your credit score is going to get worse.
Yeah, because you just brought attention to it.
You brought attention to a negative account.
Don't poke the bear.
What we do is we have you pay it by check. Never, ever pay it over the phone. Don't pay it over the phone. They're going to try everything. They'll give you a discount for paying it over the phone. Don't do it. The reason for that is we're not going to accomplish what we want. What we want is your score to go up. So if you pay the collection, it's going to go down. So we have you write a check, and in the check, we give you the exact verbiage so that when they cash that check, they have to delete all of the reports on the credit bureau. Now your score is going to go up. Third thing, don't dispute items. Unless they're completely erroneous and you have empirical data that shows that that account was paid on time, don't dispute them. It's only going to cause you more headaches. Don't close old accounts.
Yeah.
I don't care if the interest rate is 40%. Just keep the card, pay $5 on it, because those
do it
old,
after you move in. Yeah.
The old accounts give you the most credit as long as they're paid on time. And then the number one thing I should say is don't pay anybody to fix your credit. Call me. I'll help you fix your credit. It's that easy.
Well, it's funny because you don't complain much. You're a happy guy. One thing I hear you complain about is people dinking with their own credit. Like, don't mess with it. So, but I got some emails, Bruce. I want to talk to people about their resale, how to protect your resale value. And this is when, let's say you got somebody, I get some emails about this, like somebody downsizing. I had a customer a couple months ago, sold a 50-acre ranch and downsizing. And they were done with, taking care of a ranch and farm animals and all that. And they wanted to go into a nice community, but they didn't want to, they sold for a couple million and they didn't want to go down. They weren't going down to like 400,000 into the golf community, into the 55 and better community. They were going into, they wanted to go into a nice community. So we got them on a lakefront. Water protects your resale value. Beautiful. Not making any more lakes. There are some man-made lakes, but the waterfront in Central Florida, and then the bigger the waterfront, the better. A little pond's going to be better than no pond behind you. The boating lake is going to be better than the pond. And the ski lake's going to be better than just the passive lake where you can just canoe on it. And then a chain of lakes is going to be better than that. So I help people with this all the time, but that's one great way to do that when you're downsizing: a view or water. Golf courses, if you're a golfer, yes, if you've got a great view, but always play that course. Make sure you're not in the landing zone for somebody. And then if you're by a tee, be prepared for the swear words, or by the hole.
Is that what you
up
get
on the green?
When you're by the tee?
When you're right by the tee, that's where you're going to hear the most swear words. So be careful of that. Just be cognizant of it. But I've seen some, beautiful, but that's one way. That view sets you apart from somebody else. Being backed up to conservation, being on water, being on a golf course, having a great view, knowing that the land behind you is conservation. Not that it's just farmland right now. Most likely it'll be if it's in Central Florida, it'll be a subdivision.
Doesn't
eventually.
That go back to the old adage of location, location, location?
It does. And that's why you need a realtor to help you with that and get you set up for that. And I just see people doing that. That's something to consider when you're doing, you can only do that when you buy, is protecting your resale value. So I think that's what's happening right now. Inventory stable, Bruce. I've got some numbers coming up that we're going to go into on how things were like 3 years ago and where prices are at now. It's kind of interesting, and how luxury sales have taken off. But call me at 407-352-8118. 407-352-8118.
Cleve Loveland, the voice of real estate here in Orlando.
And go to
60 years.
CleveLoveland.com. Well, the family business, yes, for almost 60. So my mom doesn't like me to mention that. So she'll probably call in. right now.
She might call in
she
after
started,
that one.
I think she did carve out her first contract on a tablet next to Moses.
Yeah, and if you'd like to talk to Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage, the loan arranger, 35 years in the mortgage business, regional vice president for Cross Country Mortgage here in Central Florida, looking for opportunities to open more branches. If you are a loan officer and you're looking for branch opportunity, why not join the #1 retail lender in the country? You can reach me. If you are looking, I'm looking for loan partners that have mortgage origination experience, hopefully licensed and bilingual if possible, but I'm hiring a couple people on my team as business has picked up nicely. So we're looking to add on to the team. You want to join a great team with great benefits, then give the loan arranger a call. 407-250-9144. Again, that's 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com.
And I want to mention, Bruce, I am hiring agents out there. I get so many calls, Bruce, on people, agents out there, and they are stumbling around blindly. They just started out, and most of my time is spent helping them get a good offer together. And they send me an offer that just makes no sense in reality, and they just weren't trained. And I will do that in my office. If you're out there in real estate and you're selling homes that you think it's just kind of a grind and you're not really getting why you're having so much difficulty, I can help you with that. If you're selling 5 to 10 homes a year, I'll take you to the next step. But be prepared to work. My agents work every day of the week, and we are serious about real estate. It's not something you can do as a hobby or part-time.
No, you're not hobbyist, but I'll tell you one thing that I find about Cleve and his team. First of all, he's not a giant team where you would join his team and you're one of 60 people in a,
the spaghetti team,
and
the spaghetti approach, throw it against the wall, see what sticks.
Like that. No, everyone on Cleve's team is highly professional. Like, these people know what they're doing, but often times you've trained them from being an okay agent to being a great agent.
Well, that's what I want. And there's a right way to do things. There's no new truths. There's no magic formula in social media about how to get more listings. There's no magic formula, no website you need to buy. It is who you know, and then talking to that client, finding out their dreams. What is their real estate plan? Right. And what is the house that you want? Okay, and now might not be the time. What are we going to do over the next 6 months to get you ready for that? Get you with Bruce. When does your lease run out? All these things we help people plan, and we're not just trying to slam them into a deal, have them go through, spend $2,000 on inspections or $1,000 on inspections, and then be disappointed in the end because they didn't qualify, or they find they can't afford the home. Now, one thing I do want to mention on interest rates, Bruce, the way rates have come down, your payment on on like a 480 house is down about $600. I mean, we were high sevens. Now we're low sixes or even better sometimes. You're down about $600. So that's why not waiting is the important part, because it's hard to call the bottom. I think we're in it. I called it incorrectly about 6 months ago. I thought we were going to turn the corner and start surpassing last year, but old Sleepy Joe had one last surprise for us on how he can mess things up for the rest of the year. So, and a good election.
It's amazing how many people still think that Kamala is going to be a good option for them. And boy, does she gets out there and shoots that salad out of her mouth and says nothing.
Well, we don't need more government
people buy
jobs.
into that.
Yeah, we don't.
And I know why. I think that people buy into her because they just don't like Trump. Okay. I'm going to vote for Trump because I think he's a
businessman in there.
I think he's going to do so much to help this country. I know one thing. Everyone that I know, except for an attorney, their income has gone down since Biden's been in office.
Yeah, no, I mean, are you better off? That's the one main thing to ask. But I just think that right now we're rolling through, and Florida's going to go into this like the rest of the country. Prices have remained, they're rising around the country. Central Florida, they're up about 2% on our median, and the average is up about 4%. So we're going to do next segment. We're going to dive into
dig into that.
Listings.
Give your number out one more time.
407-352-8118 or cleveloveland.com.
Yeah. Or call the loan arranger at 407-250-9144, 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about self-employed borrowers and ways to buy a home and avoid PMI. We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of the Loveland Report and the Loan Arranger Show. Go nowhere.